Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Total Biscuit, another StarCraft cast. We haven't cast StarCraft in a little while, have we? But this is in support of the Korean tournament Olimoleague, which is supported by Patreon donations. And one of the tiers for those Patreon donations includes the reward of getting a replay cast by me. So that's exactly what I'm doing right here. This is a replay submitted by Chris Bennett for his generous donation to the Olimoleague. And it features Arouane, I assume, probably. He is playing Zerg in the red trunks to the northeast of Habitation Station versus his opponent to the northwest position. In the blue trunks playing Terran, his name is Wiggy. Of course it is. What else would it be? The Olimoleague, for those who haven't watched, by the way, is a fairly excellent effort, and obviously I'm very biased because the person running it is the Axiom Esports deputy manager. And indeed, Axiom has won several rounds of the Olimoleague. It's designed as a weekly Korean tournament to replace the now since long past ESV Korean Weekly, which is actually where Tasia cut his teeth and really got a lot of his fame before he exploded onto the scene. We think it's very important and valuable for the Koreans to actually have some online events of their own, because there's a huge talent pool in Korea, and yet they don't actually have that many tournaments on their home soil to be able to play in. More often than not, if they're playing online events, they have to do some pretty annoying things, like play on other servers or play at 5 AM, so this tournament was designed for them specifically. And Olimoleague is entirely supported by Patreon donations, so if you want to check that tournament out, then I'll put the Patreon link in the description below this video. I personally donate to it as well, and the product's really good. It's cast by Base Trade TV every week, and there's a monthly finals because they raised so much money that they were able to do that. So they're putting a lot of extra cash and exposure into the Korean scene right now, which is very important. I mean, that's pretty much what Axiom was all about, right? Okay, so I couldn't tell you what level this replay actually is. I would love to tell you, but I couldn't. But what I can say is we have gas first, followed by spawning pool here for our Zerg player. No gas first hatchery. In fact, we don't actually see another hatchery coming down whatsoever here from arouane. We've got 2 barracks coming down for Wiggy. We've got the CC first, followed by the double barracks gasless play here, which is entirely fine. Nothing wrong with that. Pretty basic build. It's fairly economical, but also allows you... It's not actually economical. I keep misusing that word. A lot of casters misuse the term economical. It's not actually economical, it's economic. It's economic focused. Economical would mean that he's trying to, say, cut corners. And he's really not doing that because he's going for double barracks here. If he's focusing purely on basically being cheap, then that wouldn't be an economical build, but it's an economic focused build. He isn't getting gas, so that means his tech's going to be far behind, but he is going to get a decent amount of Marines out. And strangely enough, arouane has gone up to 20. Oh wow, he's actually going straight for a Baneling Nest. Looks like a 1-base bust here. Which, I mean, that could work in theory, but it depends. I mean, Wiggy's already scouted that, so I don't really see it getting too much done here. Seems like arouane is going to have to expand. I mean, he does have a lot of resources. Even if he was building lings only off this single hatchery, I think he could still build another one. And yeah, it's been scouted. There's a second bunker going up the top here. Personally, I'd prefer to maybe see it around here, because it looks like this will be a Baneling attack. So ultimately, you want to try and spread your bunkers out in such a way that they can kill as many Banelings as possible before the bust hits. This wall is not complete. That's kind of my concern there. But with the bunker up, assuming that doesn't get killed, Banelings should be able to get up the ramp, and now more lings are being produced here. And arouane is still on 1 base, still floating quite a lot of resources. Whereas Wiggy seems to be doing just fine. I think he should be able to hold this, honestly. Even, well, I mean, obviously he's not going to have gas, a stim he never would have by this stage, but he's got a bunker set up. This could certainly do damage. I think he needs to pull his SCVs back. Obviously, that's not going to get anything done. The Marine comes down the ramp, scouts the Banelings, and I don't think building the supply depots here is necessarily a good idea either, because they are going to just end up dying. And the lings are on the way, and there's the surround coming in right here. Takes down 1, takes down 2, goes for the 3rd. And a few indecisive Banelings. I think they were looking for some good detonations on the SCV line, but Wiggy already knew that this was coming in. So far, that's 5 Banelings and a bunch of lings for a couple of supply depots and some Marines. Gonna see a few SCVs go down. There's the lift force, but the wall is now done, and there's no Banelings following this up. This is still Speedling, purely off 1 base. which I'm not massively keen on, honestly. He is, of course, denying mining. But, I mean, what I'd like to see here, there it is, finally the expansion. I mean, there's 25 Zerglings here. The Zerg player has almost no gas. He's only mining from an extractor with 2 there, so he's not been able to build too many Banelings. He can bust this, but I think Wiggy should be able to hold it. It depends how good the engagement is and if this is left up. Okay, Banelings are on the way. That's going to blast down the supply depot there. It's going to add a few more in. I'd like to see maybe another bunker behind this or a secondary wall in. Or maybe some widow mines if possible, but since we saw the gasless opening, it's going to be a very, very slow tech process here from Wiggy, who's now finally started stim. He's going to bring his orbital command back, and here comes the bust. Leading with the Banelings, maybe not the best idea. A lot of those actually got focused down before they hit, but it opened the wall up, and here it is. The thing is, the bunker is still there. If SCVs are pulled, then this should do the job, but they're not really being pulled at the moment. A couple of Marines coming in. Most of the Lings are dead, though, so it looks like this is really just going to be a fairly ineffectual trade for the Zerg player, and now he's forced back. A third command center is on the way here for... or at least it was. It was actually cancelled. Wiggy can now safely go and mine without too much of a problem, and arouane only just finishes his hatchery and ends up with a significant supply deficit. The Baneling bust didn't really do an awful lot of damage. If we look at units lost here, a lot of Lings, only 6 workers. Yes, mining time denied, but this is still time that the orbital command could be building up energy for mules, and indeed he mule hammered his main, which is maybe not the best idea because it will mine out a bit quick, but still. He is able to make up for those losses. Those were not critical losses. arouane with the nice little block, though, really wants to delay that going down, which he needs to, because he is very far behind economically. Needs to really be droning up in a big way, but he's actually building more Banelings, which are these defensive Banelings? I guess they are, but really there's no sign of Wiggy actually getting aggressive yet. His Marine count is reasonable, but it's not really high enough, I think, to do much. They don't have combat shields yet. There's no medevacs available. Stimpack is about to be done, but I think it's a bit of a risky business here if Wiggy decides to attack. So I'm not 100% convinced about using the lava there. I think what he needs to do is really drone up, because he's economically behind. And that's the last thing you want to do against a Terran player. You don't want to be on 2 bases versus a 2-base Terran. And indeed, Lair is now on the way here for arouane. He's putting up a Spine Crawler in his main. I do like that. Don't mind that at all. Spore Crawler there in the mineral line too, although I prefer maybe to see it there. Probably a better place to put it, just towards the back there. And we're going to see yet another spine. And arouane's kind of doing this blind. He realizes that, look, my bust failed, I'm behind, so I'm going to prepare for an attack, which may come, certainly, but he doesn't really have that information. He's now going to take his 3rd base. But this is all being done, really, on the basis of assumption. So, Liddly Widdly Wiggy over here is doing just fine on both the tech and economy front. He's got a couple of medevacs on now, and looks like he will be attempting to do a drop. Single Spine Crawler in the main, plus a Queen, and a few Banelings should probably be okay. We'll see what Wiggy decides to do, if he decides to go for a double drop into the main base. Looks like he is going to go for the main. It's not full. Decent amount of Marines. Probably not enough to get much done. I like the Overlord positioning here. That's going to see these medevacs coming in. But with a Queen of Spine and some Banelings, and arouane already knows that it's here, this shouldn't really do much in theory. Don't really like the lack of creep spread here from arouane in the main base. Always good to have the creep spread to try and deny drops. And oh, Wiggy eats it in the face. Not ideal. Off creep as well. No splits here from Wiggy whatsoever, so arouane is able to shut this down without too much of a problem. There's the lift and go, and that was not a brilliant investment there from Wiggy. But again, I'd love to see a little bit of creep spread in the main. That would be great. He has 3 queens. He can certainly do that. 3rd is about to be completed here for our Zerg player. So he is starting to catch up, but he's still 20 supply behind at this stage, which is not brilliant. And a Terran can subsist on 2 bases for a reasonable amount of time and actually do quite a lot of damage with it. We're going for the double engineering bay here. Trying to get some tech going, but he is still missing the occasional upgrade every now and again. He does have his combat shields out now, which is good. Interesting to see that he's just playing pure Marine Marauder Medevac. No Widow Mines being incorporated as of yet. And what tech path is arouane going? He's going Roach, which I'm not hugely keen on. I'd still stick with Ling Baneling and maybe go for Mutalisk here, especially on a map like this. You can get a lot of good air control here with Mutas. That would be absolutely fantastic. I don't really agree with the Roach, particularly when there's Marauders being added into the mix. The Roaches probably won't do an awful lot. Production for Wiggy is going through the roof, by the way. I'm actually pretty impressed. Got 11 Marines coming out at a time. It's a good number. He's working on double upgrades as well. He's going to try and take his third here at the gold, which is always nice. And he has a sizable army. Army supply 65 to 15. Arouane really has nothing. He's relying on good Baneling hits, and he's been droning up, and I think perhaps at the wrong time. Now with his big army marching across the map, I'm not entirely convinced that Arouane can actually hold up against this. A lot of spines coming down, but against Stim Marines and Marauders, spines aren't really going to do that much. I wonder if he'll decide to wait. More Banes being added. The speed upgrade is coming in for the Banelings, and as we've seen before, Wiggy... he's not exactly Moses when it comes to splits. Let's just put it that way. Let's be fair to the guy. That's not his strongest suit. He's also appears to be shooting his own medevac in a fit of anger at that comment. Alright, and here it is. Ling's coming in, but can he get the Baneling connections? He decides to engage right now, and Wiggy does not split that well. Oh, he does survive, though. That wasn't quite enough. I would have loved to see Arouane actually hold on until speed was done, because it was 10 seconds away, but now the push is coming in. More Lings and Roaches being added in here, and that might be enough to push this back, but damage is going to be done. Wiggy is in the natural mineral line and is hammering away, taking out several drones already. A couple of Lings come in. Oh no, Aaron's control is not there. He's rallied away, and a few of those Lings run into nothing. He is morphing Banelings actually on the outside. If Wiggy sees this, and he can see it, is in vision range, then those can get shut down quickly. The natural is going to fall now, and Arouane is taking a lot of damage. Baneling's about to be completed, though, so he should be able to get this cleanup. We'll see if he is able to get the hot pickup here. Wiggy does get the pickup and gets the hell out of there. But he killed the natural hatchery, and he killed a decent number of drones as well. He solidifies his economic lead here by taking the gold. Things are looking pretty dicey here for our Zerg player, I have to say. He's floating a lot of resources as well. I'd love to see a macro hatch come down here from Arouane. He's a little behind in his injects, so that's really why he can't spend all of his money. Maybe start to ninja expand across the map. Ultimately, he needs a way to spend his money. If he could actually spend his bank right now, he could probably build an army the same size as Wiggy's. The problem is he can't spend his bank. He's not injecting. Ling's coming in once again. He's got some Roaches to back him up this time and some decent detonations, but Wiggy splits a hell of a lot better this time around, and that's concerning because those slow Roaches are not going to get anything done. They are not upgraded. They're against 1-1 Marine Marauder with medevac backup, and now the third base is under a great deal of threat. Spinecrawler will certainly help out here, no doubt about that, but is this going to be enough? It is not. The Terran player will be able to break this, and the Zerg player is in a lot of trouble. All that money and nothing to spend it on right now. Even Wiggy's sort of lagging behind in terms of his economy. Looks like he hasn't managed to place enough barracks to spend all of this cash, but right now it doesn't really matter. It's 82 army supply to 18. And the Zerg player is most assuredly going to die a horrible, painful death here. This fourth hatch is certainly too little too late. No sign of tech. A couple of Roaches being added in, which, as we've seen, just clearly is not affected. Spire now. I mean, but he doesn't have any gas, so the Spire's really of no use. He needed a way to spend 2,000 minerals, and right now he doesn't have one, and Wiggy is punishing him for it. 2-2 is on the way just to put the nail in the coffin, but this is gonna be it, I think, for Arouane, I'm afraid. And Wiggy will take a strong win in this best of one at random ladder, possibly Gold League series. Here we go. And there is the GG. Well played to Wiggy. And there you go. And big thanks to Chris Bennett for supporting the Patreon effort for Olimoleague. My name's Total Biscuit. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.